Hey Team Born, exciting news. We're starting a vlog. That's right. We're going to be pulling back the curtain of our business so people can see what happens behind the scenes of a global licensing agency. We also want to use the vlog to raise awareness about licensing in general and help those who are new to licensing better understand our industry, how it works, what's involved, and of course, why we love licensing. We still don't have a name for the vlog, so I've scheduled a 15-minute Teams call for us all to decide. I really need your help to find the perfect name. It will be happening this Thursday. Please send any ideas to me before end of Wednesday. Note that all ideas must include the name Born. Obs. Looking forward to seeing you all then. Best, David. Smiley face. So why am I doing the podcast? So today is a Learn to License day. We're going to love what I've put together in Learn to License. And that's where we're going. I decided that I needed to have some goals outside of work. So I'm 2 kilometers in. How I discovered licensing, the different areas of our business. I'm going to watch a new film. Hello.
Hello, team.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Born in Action. Up early today, recording a podcast with Hasbro. They're in London, so the podcast starts in 45 minutes. It's 6:45 right now. We're starting at 7:30. Very important to have my lemon and ginger tea, and very important to talk to you because I need to warm up my voice. No one wants to listen to a podcast with a host that's just woken up. So I'm going to sit here for a little while, need to do my emails. Things are well and truly off and racing in Europe already. One of the challenges of being behind is that you wake up to a lot of emails. But when you're in this time zone, it also crosses over a bit easier with the US as well. So where I'm behind in Europe, I'm ahead with the US. And that's one of the benefits from this particular time zone. If I want to have a call with LA at their 5 p.m., I can actually do that. I can do that at my 9 p.m., which is totally fine. If I want to have an early morning call with London, I can. The earliest I've done is their 9 o'clock, my 5 a.m. I try not to do that. Don't want to make a habit out of it. Don't want to get up early every single day. But sometimes I do need to be on really important calls, and I don't expect a client to need to work around my time zone all the time. So I am happy to wake up. Luckily, I'm a morning person. So being what is called a morning lark, let's talk about the podcast. So why am I doing the podcast? I did season 1 of the podcast. It went really well. It was very much me testing the waters. It was 10-minute episodes with me just talking about my journey through licensing, from when I first discovered licensing to how I got to starting my own business and starting Born to License, and all the lessons I learned along the way. Season 2 is very different. Season 2 is interviewing guests that are very interesting, that are in the licensing space or are somehow associated with licensing. I've had really great interviews with Funko. As I said, I've got Hasbro today. We've had some great interviews with my team because my team are they're very specialized in what they do. So that's the plan right now. We are going to take things to the next level. We're going to be doing a trailer for every single episode, and we're going to do a trailer for the whole series. We're very much taking inspiration from Direct SEO, which is something that I listen to religiously. I really, really love that podcast. Everything that Stephen Bartlett is doing is so impressive. He has inspired me to do this vlog as well. because I find it so interesting behind the scenes, what's happening with his business. So, can I be the Stephen Bartlett of licensing? Let's see. There you are. Hi, how you doing?
How are you doing?
Good. I'm so excited to talk to you. All right, Julia, the promotion space sits at the fascinating intersection of licensing and marketing.
So if you think about it from a theatrical film perspective, you might have a new movie coming out. So if you think about Monopoly, you will have potentially a scan, play, win, and that is very different and a very different consumer journey and consumer engagement than a traditional license.
So today is a Learn to License Day. We are shooting content to put on YouTube, where we're going to be giving valuable information, talking about what is licensing and other topics. And then at the end, we'll say if you want to dive deeper, then we can send them to the Learn to License course. So we're doing our first video outside in the fresh air, and then we'll go inside for the other videos. So let's go. Licensing is everywhere around you. It's in your local supermarket, on the cereal boxes. It's probably hanging in your wardrobe right now. It's on your phone case, your coffee mugs, even your kid's lunchbox. But what actually is licensing? Most people have no idea, yet it's one of the most powerful business models in the world. Licensing is essentially renting someone else's brand or intellectual property to put on your products. Think of it like this. Instead of buying or permanently partnering with a brand, you're paying them for temporary permission to use their name, logo, or characters under agreed terms. Licensing isn't just for giant corporations. Small businesses, entrepreneurs, and individual creators can use licensing to grow their brands and generate income. Whether you have a brand that others might want to license, or you're looking to license someone else's IP for your products, understanding licensing can completely transform your business. So let's talk about podcasts. Let's go through the brief that I sent you yesterday. I think we can probably both access that. So season 1 of the podcast was all about my journey. So it was 10-minute episodes, starting from when I discovered licensing to when I essentially started the business up until today. Season 2 is going to be all about interviewing interesting people from the industry. So I've already done a number of interviews. I had Funko last week, which was really, really good. And so now we need to start sort of packaging it up. Okay, so this is the script I've written for the ad. So I can record this at some point on my microphone, and then we can overlay the audio on cuts from the actual Learn to License course. So I say, before we dive into today's show, I wanted to share something really exciting with you, that finding the right license, knowing if you're going to love what I've put together in Learn to License. The course covers all things you need to visit learntolicense.com. Back to our conversation. So what I want to show you is what is the easiest way for us to find a hook from each of the episodes. Sort of like an agent for Claude set up as far as the podcast goes. So it's told us the overarching hooks. Now we want to just put together the script for us. I just want to sit down with you, we eat lasagna, and we just talk about the campaign. I've got like a Garfield shirt and Garfield socks. So isn't that beautiful here? And that's where we're going, Shumper Grill.
Ah, Shumper
Grill. That is my favorite place.
Look at my hair.
All right, let's go through schedule for next week.
Okay, so the next week we have on Monday a UK holiday. On Wednesday we have my birthday.
And what's happening? It's your birthday on Wednesday. What does that mean, Juliana?
That I'm off.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna have my day off so I can enjoy.
Because we have a policy where you get your birthday off at Bourne. So if you work at Bourne, you get your birthday off. Yes, that's right. To do whatever you want to do. You can sleep in, you can go to the gym, you can spend time with family, whatever you want to do.
In the afternoon, we have our Born to License US weekly. Eduardo's already here, so he can join us this week. Then you'll have your 101 with Jenna.
We'll have a wonderful time.
Thank you.
And
Plenty.
for me, tomorrow morning I've got a long run, so I'm doing 28 kilometers tomorrow. So that's then I've got and I've got my Portuguese class, and then Vinny's in Sao Paulo, so I'll just be catching up on work, and maybe I'll watch a movie. I'll just have some me time. It'll be nice.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I deserve some me time. Nice to come out here after a busy day, get some fresh air. You're going to see me doing a lot of running in these videos, and I wanted to tell you why. September last year, I decided that I needed to have some goals outside of work. I was finding that I was very much in the weeds of work every single day. I was living and breathing work all the time, and I needed some goals outside of work. I've always been a bit of a runner. I really enjoyed running, and I decided at that point, September last year, I'm gonna run a marathon. Now, I had already ran half marathon, and I was quite happy with that, but it was pretty exhausting. So the thought of doing it twice would be very difficult. I remember crossing that finish line of my half marathon and thinking, how could people do twice this? I barely made it across the line. The first thing I did when I decided that I wanted to run a marathon was I hired a marathon trainer. That was a really important part of the process because I was finding somebody that would make me accountable, that would put together a plan, and I'd check in on a regular basis, and it would mean that I was accountable to somebody else. So I also hired a sports doctor, someone that could help me with my nutrition, help me lose my body fat, gain muscle. So that was important as well. I had a very strict eating regimen, so I was being very mindful of my carb intake and all the macronutrients and all of that kind of fun stuff. And so my first marathon was approaching in June this year. I had trained for months and months and months. The longest run I had done up to that point was 32 kilometers. Let me take you to race day. It's 6 a.m. and it's raining and it's cold, but I'm ready to go. I've been training, I mentally there. I've been carb loading for the last 3 days. I was eating so much bread and so much delicious carbs, but I got there 6 a.m. My parents had flown all the way from Australia to see me run the marathon. So they walked me to the marathon early in the morning, said their goodbye, and then off I went. So it's raining, it's dark, it's really early. We're running as a group. So as part of the group, there were people running 21 kilometers, there were people running 42 kilometers. So for the first 10, 15 kilometers, there were quite a lot of us, but at some point, the 21 kilometers, people turned around, and then it made it really clear to me that there were barely anybody doing the full marathon. I looked ahead, there was like one person in the distance. Looked behind, there was barely anybody. And suddenly I was running alone. And it became a real mental struggle from that point onwards because I didn't really have anybody around me. There was no one cheering, there was no one to kind of keep up with, there was nobody to speak with. So I continued, 15 kilometers, 20 kilometers, 25 kilometers, really starting to feel it. By the time I got to 32 kilometers, I'd reached the point where I had never ran that distance before. So it was exciting, but I was very tired. I was just remembering every step is the longest that you've ever run. So I was setting a record for myself, which was very exciting. But at the same time, when there was about 8 kilometers to go, I was starting to get really painful in my joints and my legs. It was really painful. Every single step was starting to become excruciating. I found myself getting into a really negative mindset. I found that, every step was extremely painful, and that meant I was doing the calculations because there wasn't much else to do while you're running and while you're alone and there's no one to talk to. I calculated 8 kilometers to go, 8,000 steps. 4,000 steps per leg. That means I have to put up with that kind of pain 4,000 times per leg. I'm not going to be able to do this. There's no way I'm going to be able to finish, but one step after the other. My goal was not to set a record time. My goal was just to finish without stopping, to become a marathon runner. And so I really struggled at that point. But a few kilometers later, I was still running. I hadn't stopped. And I decided to take myself out of that dark hole and put some more positive energy out there. I remembered my parents had traveled all the way from Australia just to see me finish. They were waiting at the finish line. They were less than an hour away. In less than an hour, I would be a marathon runner. That goal that you set yourself back in September, all the training that you did, all the really early mornings, all the cold mornings, all the running in the rain, everything that you did led to this point. You just have to run for 1 more hour. That's all you need to do. So that's exactly what I did. 36 kilometers, 37, 38, 39, 40. And then I'm on the home stretch and you see the finish line and you see the people and you see my parents with an Australian flag. It was such a phenomenal moment. And I can tell you, in that last 500 meters, I had so much energy.
Yes! David! Woo!
I was running like a pro. You see me cross the finish line. I was like, yeah, I was cruising. It was really good. No one knew that 8 kilometers ago, I was thinking about pulling the pin. It was an amazing experience. And straight away, I signed up for the next one. I signed up for the Melbourne Marathon. So that is in October. That is a month and a bit away, which is very exciting. So I'm deep in marathon training again. Every Saturday is my long run day. So I'm running 28, 30, 31 kilometers. I'm running 4 times a week. So I run Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. I also do Pilates twice a week, which is really important for marathon runners, just to, ensure that the body is staying strong. And I also go to the gym 3 times a week as well to do strength training. One of those is concentrating on my legs, which are really important. So you'll see that part of me throughout this series as well. And I hope that I can inspire anybody else that's thinking of doing a marathon. Maybe you don't think you can do it. Trust me, you can. If I can do it, you can do it too. Good morning, Saturday morning, just past 6 a.m. I'm up early. Saturday is my long run day. Today I'm running 26 kilometers. So I need to be up early so I can do that, get home, have a shower, and then I have Portuguese class at 10 o'clock. So that's what I need to do. It will take me about 2.5 hours to do my 26 kilometers, more or less. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to be running too hard today. The key to the long runs is really to try and keep a reasonable pace, but don't go too hard. So I'll probably be aiming for around 5 minutes per kilometer pace for today. But I'll show you what I do to prepare for a long run, starting with brushing my teeth. The first thing I do when I'm doing a long run is I have some of this. I have no idea how it's pronounced. Palatinose, but it's a slow releasing carb. So instead of sugary things that, spike your sugar level really quickly and then you come back down, this is much more of a slow releasing glucose situation. So I'll have a couple of spoonfuls of this. It's important that I have this half an hour before I leave. Now, the other thing I need to do is get some gels for me to have along the way. Now, these are important. I have these every 6 kilometers. So today, running 26 kilometers, I'll have at the 6, 12, 18, and 24 mark. So I'm going to take 4 of these. And this is basically just to make sure that I'm having more carbs as I run. So I'm topping up my carbs. I'm not getting tired. You want to have those before you get tired. Once you get tired, it's already too late. So that's why I do it every 6 kilometers. I'm not necessarily feeling like deprived of carbs or energy at 6 kilometers, but that's the whole point. You want to have it before then. I'm going to leave this out because I need to buy more, and that will remind me to do so. I'm going to pop them. Next is some hydrolyte. For this, I will put in this soft flask and I'll take it with me. And I will have this whenever I'm taking the carbs. The reason why I'm going to have them together is because these can upset my stomach if I don't wash them down with something. So they can be pretty intense if you just have them as is. So I was having stomach issues when I was taking these. And so now I take these over the course of 1 kilometer. I have a little bit of this, then I take some of this, this. And it really helps kind of my stomach kind of digest it, which is great because trust me, the last thing you want when you're doing a long run is stomach issues. Being there and you're desperately trying to find a place to go to the bathroom. But with my new strategy, it hasn't had to happen, which is good. Now I do have a belt that I use to carry everything. I'm sure you're wondering, David, you have a water bottle and you have these gels and you have a phone to carry. How are you going to carry them? Well, I have a runner's belt. It's actually called marathon belt. And this has been with me for a lot of tough times. I'll usually put my bulky water in the front here. There we go. Now I'm going to put the 4 gels on the side, and then I'll prop the phone at the back that I'm recording off it now, and then I'll put my key aside as well. That's everything that I need to take with me. I also do have a Polar heart rate monitor. Now I do have a Garmin, which is a really good Garmin, but I did read that the heart rate tracking on the Garmin is not as accurate as a Polar heart rate monitor. So I like to have all of the data, and so I decided to invest in one of these. So this goes on here. I've got my Bose headphones in. Now they're great. They do the opposite of noise cancellation. They actually, you hook them in and they point the sound, whether you listen to a podcast or music, they point it into your ear hole, and then the sound comes there. But you can also hear everything else because it's not blocking your ear. It's just pointing the sound in. It's a lot safer. So it means if you're running down the street, you can hear cars, you can hear people, and it's great. I used to have the Apple AirPods, which were okay, but they did, cancel out some of the noise that was happening around me. These are much safer. All right, I think we're ready. Let's go. One more very important thing I need to do before I get started, and that is have a stretch. Very, very, very important to do this. Every time I do a run, to make sure that my body is ready and raring to go. Okay, so I'm finally ready to go. 26 kilometers. I'll take you with me. I'll keep you updated as we go. I'm going to start with, it's about 2 kilometers to run to the park. So I'm 2 kilometers in. Easy start. Saturday morning at this park is always packed. So I essentially need to do, there's 2 little parks here. One is 4 kilometers, the other is about 3. So I essentially need to do a number of these running around until I get to my 24. Then I can do the last 2 on the way home. Just on 8.5 kilometers. Feeling good. I've been running a bit fast, so I need to rein it in a little bit. But I've already had my first gel, and I'm on to my second full lap. But doing good. About 15 kilometers. Starting to feel a little tired, but nothing out of the ordinary. 11 km to go. Be totally fine. Beautiful day, you can see the sunshine. Has been sunny for a while. Beautiful running weather. Just past 21, so a lazy half marathon on a Saturday morning. 5 km to go. At 24, I'm exiting the park now. I'm on the home stretch. I'm about to have my last gel. Now, one problem. The home stretch. Have a look. It's all uphill. So, nice and slow. Little steps. No pressure on pace. I have run 24 kilometers already. I don't want to overdo it. I'm in training mode, not marathon mode. And there we have it. I'm back home. 26 kilometers, 2 hours, 9 minutes, 15 seconds. Did it a bit faster than I was expecting. So now, keep going with my weekend. I'm gonna go have a shower, and then it's time for my Portuguese class. I remember after I ran my first marathon, people asked me, are you going to do like an Ironman or something like that afterwards, which is swim, bike, run? I said, absolutely not. I have no interest in swimming. I have no interest in biking. I feel like they're such a faff. And if you're watching this and you don't know what a faff is, this is what it means. So why is biking and swimming a faff compared to running? Running, I literally need to put shoes on my feet and go. That's it. I just realized I do have time for a quick dip. So I'm going to take advantage of my unheated, very cold pool, but it's a beautiful day, so I think it'll be quite nice. Let's go. Now, while I'm doing this, I have plenty of time, so I might take you through how I discovered licensing almost 20 years ago. I remember I was 20 years old. I was in a job that I really didn't like, doing some things for a boss that I really didn't have much respect for, and as a 20-year-old, I was pretty rebellious, and, I didn't want to work for somebody that I didn't respect. So one day, I had a falling out with my boss at the time, and I went home and I just started applying for every job I could possibly find. One of those jobs was at a licensing agency. Now, I had no idea what licensing actually was. I had no idea what that actually meant. What is a licensing agency? But I applied for the role there. That afternoon, I got an invitation to go to an interview the next day. So I did no research whatsoever. Most people would have, figured out, oh, who is this company? What are they about? And maybe gone in with some preparation, at least. Not me. 20-year-old me was not very organized. I was just gonna wing it. So I thought. Now I remember the next day, I rock up to the interview and I get to this building and there is a massive SpongeBob SquarePants in the window. And I walk into reception, there's a big Spider-Man on the floor. There's a big Dora the Explorer. There's Marvel characters everywhere. What is this place? Did I just walk into a toy shop or did I actually walk into my job interview? So I went into their boardroom, had the job interview. There were a few things that they asked me about, did I know licensing? I had no idea, and they ended up explaining it to me there and then what licensing actually was. You'd think that I wouldn't have been offered the job because I had no clue what they were talking about, but there were a few reasons why they decided to hire me. One, I had pretty good administrative experience. I could touch type and, I had experience working on Word and PowerPoint and on computers and all that kind of stuff. So that I had the fundamentals of an administrative kind of office job. I had that, so that was good. But I think what helped me more was the personality fit. I think that the person that interviewed me did a really good job at understanding that I love entertainment, I love characters, that I'm very passionate about what I do, and I'm generally an easy person to get along with. And I think that they felt like I was a really good cultural fit for the team. I think they could see that I had this level of entrepreneurialism, ambition. They could see that, and they felt that I could bring that to the role. And so they offered me the job. I quit my other job and I was very happy to do that. And then I started in licensing. And I think for the first 3 to 6 months, most of the time, I had no idea what I was talking about. I had no idea, what's the minimum guarantee? What's a royalty? What's the approval process? What's product development? All that kind of stuff. I was very much learning as I went, but I did have the opportunity to do some really great things. So I had the opportunity to work with Colgate, for example, on Dora the Explorer. I got to work with McDonald's on their Happy Meals. I got to work with Marvel characters and SpongeBob, and my role was very much FMCG and promotion. So FMCG, fast moving consumer goods, anything for characters on food, anything on beverage, health and beauty, so shampoos, conditioners, Band-Aids. I did Simpsons Band-Aids, for example. And then anything that was promotion, so that was more short-term activities, and it was very much like what I spoke to Julia Komodo from Hasbro about recently for the podcast. That promotion space is very interesting. I encourage you to watch that when it's live. I also worked on QSR, so quick service restaurants. That is McDonald's, Burger King, Subway, those kind of quick service restaurants where they often lean on doing short-term promotions with characters, giving away toys and premiums and things like that. So that was my job. And I was there for a couple of years. And then I saw an amazing opportunity to go work at Warner Brothers. Now, I am a big Looney Tunes fan. You can actually see Bugs Bunny here on my chest. And so the opportunity to go and work for someone like Warner Brothers, who was also Batman. I've loved Batman since I was a kid as well. So, Scooby-Doo, love Scooby-Doo. So, a great all-rounder position was going, and I felt like it was time for me to move on and try something new, but I had fallen in love with licensing. So I decided to stick with licensing, move over to Warner Brothers. They gave me the job, which was amazing. And there it was the same area. So it was FMCG and promotions. And I was working on a lot of different projects. Scooby-Doo was very, very popular for food and beverage. I think that it was really popular because Scooby-Doo is really a generational brand. Kids love Scooby-Doo. Adults know Scooby-Doo. The person buying the Scooby-Doo product at a supermarket is mum or dad, essentially, for the kid. So you get the double whammy. You get the parent knows and trusts the brand, whereas the kid loves to engage with the brand. And so you've got the trust, you've got the entertainment, the kid's happy, the parent's happy. So Scooby-Doo was very successful. We had similar experiences with Looney Tunes, with DC superheroes, Batman and Superman and so forth. So I had quite a successful time there, but I had one challenge, one thing. I loved my boss, amazing, amazing person, loved working for him. I loved the brands, I loved my life, and I loved all the learning opportunities I was getting. But every time I would go on annual leave, I'd go to Europe. I'd go backpacking across Europe. And eventually I realized that there was an itch that I just had to scratch. And that was to go backpacking across Europe without any work responsibilities or anything. So after 4 years, I resigned from Warner Brothers and I went backpacking across Europe. My intention was to go for 12 months. Now, I am a very organized person. I'm good with my numbers. I have spreadsheets. And so I had done a great job in putting together a budget for my backpacking trip. So I was going to spend no more than 50 Australian dollars per day for 12 months. And then if I did that, I didn't have to work because I'd saved up. And so that $50 had to stretch across accommodation, food, going from country to country, so flights and so forth. That was my budget. So I started in Greece. I started in Athens. Then I went to Mykonos, which was absolutely amazing. I then continued on for 3 months. I went to Berlin. I went to Prague. I spent time in the Nordics. I went to Copenhagen and Stockholm, a lot of really great places. I went to London, of course. The last place I stopped before I ended up moving to London permanently was in Ireland. And while I was there, I saw a job advertisement for head of FMCG and promotions for EMEA. EMEA is Europe, Middle East, and Africa at Cartoon Network. And after 3 months, I felt like I had scratched that itch. I felt like I had got that fix that I really wanted. And I was actually starting to miss work. I was really missing having a routine, having, to stimulate that part of my mind. So I ended up applying for that role and I was successful. I was working on Cartoon Network brands like Ben 10, Powerpuff Girls, Adventure Time, those kinds of brands. And I was there for 12 months working in the London office. It was a really amazing opportunity because I got to really experience the breadth of working in a much bigger market. Australia, I only worked with Australia and New Zealand. For EMEA, I was working in the UK, across all of Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. We had licensing agents that would be working with us. We had clients all over those regions. And it was really, really interesting to just see the different cultures, how weather can affect food and beverage and QSR promotions as well. So that was really interesting. But there was another itch that I needed to scratch. And that was this entrepreneurial spirit that I have that was growing. And while I was working at Warner Brothers, I got the taste of licensed advertising. We had companies come to us who wanted to license Warner Brothers IP in an advertising campaign. And I started to understand more about this space. When I was working at Cartoon Network, we had this particular situation where somebody came to us and they wanted to license Powerpuff Girls in a Volkswagen advertisement. Now, I was the right one to speak with. So when I found out they were interested, I invited them into the office and we had a chat. And the first thing that they said was, thank goodness we're in this meeting. I said, oh, okay, what's happened? And they said, it's taken 4 weeks to get this meeting. We had no idea who you were. We didn't know who to contact. We've been calling front desk. We just, eventually we got onto you, but it's taken 4 weeks. And now it's a bit chaotic because we've started to run out of time. And so that was a big light bulb moment for me because it became really clear that there was no agency or no consultant that these ad agencies could actually go to license IP in advertising. They were stuck. They had to sort of figure out themselves. They had to sort of kick down doors, knock on doors and try and get in touch with the right people, which was very difficult for them to do when they're dealing with an advertising production and lots of other things. They don't really have time. I was surprised that they were still interested in talking or still had this idea on the table after 4 weeks. And so that was my first big light bulb moment where I was like, I know a lot about this licensed advertising space. I've been doing a lot of work in it. There's no one else that knows this space. There's, a few people working for the studios, but otherwise there's no third party that's helping. And so that's why I decided that I was going to leave Cartoon Network. I was going to fly home to Melbourne, Australia. I was going to start my business, Born Licensing. And that's when Born Licensing was born. It was August 2014. I'd flown home. I had no idea how to register a company. I had no idea. I had no legal advice. I had no accountants. I had no idea what I was doing, but I had a vision and I had a solution that I knew was needed. And so that's when I started Born Licensing, and that's how Born Licensing was born. I'll probably find another opportunity in the future to take you through how Born Licensing was really born and really the challenges that I had with that business. For example, it took me over a year to get my first deal. And how did that look like? So for anybody that's watching, that's thinking of starting a business or has started a business and you're in this really embryonic stage that's really challenging and cash flow challenges and all of that kind of stuff, that's a story that I would be very happy to share in a future episode, because I have stories to tell about starting a small business, the challenges involved. I look back 11 years later and I feel like it all happened for a reason, and it's all working out incredibly, and I'm so grateful for that. But the first couple of years were tough, and then there were tough times over the course of the 11 years as well, and I look forward to sharing more of that in the future. But for today, I'm glad to be able to share more on my licensing career, how I got to starting my own business, and the experience that I had, and the wonderful people that I was very, very lucky to work with, and the brands as well. But for now, I'm going to get back to my puzzle. It's a lazy Sunday morning here, and I thought I'd take the opportunity to take you through the different areas of our business, starting with Born Licensing. So Born Licensing was our first business focused on the advertising space, so helping advertising agencies license characters and IP in advertising. These are really high-profile campaigns, so we've worked on Super Bowl campaigns, we've worked on Christmas campaigns in the UK, which is kind of the British equivalent of a Super Bowl ad. We've worked with major global brands like Uber, Facebook, Google, and I've also worked on really big brands that are really well known in their own markets. So like the US, for example, Invesco, Geico. In the UK, we've done a lot with the retailers, so Sainsbury's, Asda, plus British Airways. And while we were running the Born Licensing business, we got really good at working with people that really don't understand licensing. So people that are new to licensing, the advertising industry, are great at advertising, but they don't understand licensing that well. So we got really good at working with people that really need guidance and really need their hands held throughout the licensing process from the very start to the very finish. And that leads me to Born to License, our next area of the business. We found that there are so many companies out there that need help with licensing and they don't really know where to start. So we set up this division to help companies of all shapes and sizes all over the world with their licensing. And that could be anything from physical product to digital products. We have clients who make backpacks, personalized products, food, beverage, health and beauty, apparel, sleepwear, trading cards, and a lot more. And we've been able to negotiate deals for them for the likes of Disney, Warner Brothers, Hasbro, Mattel, Sanrio, lots of different brands all over the world. The hottest licenses, we have been able to negotiate those agreements for them. And we don't just negotiate the agreements, we manage the licensing process from start to finish. So it's helping them identify what are the most suitable licenses for you. And then we put together a proposal, we pitch for those licenses, we negotiate the deals. Then we move into the product development stage. We have a product development team with Jenna and Alyssa who manage the product development with the licensee from start to finish. We also help with royalty reports, with central marketing fund documents, basically really everything that you need to do as a licensee, we help absorb a lot of that workload so that they can continue to focus on the everyday part of their business. We're growing really quickly. This is a high growth area for us. We are wanting to continue growing exponentially. We currently have 28 clients. Our goal is to have 100 by the end of 2026. So we have really ambitious goals, but this is very much a scalable business that will continue to ramp up over the next 6 to 12 months. Our third and newest area of the business is loan to license, and this is very much in the educational space. So I've created a course that has condensed my 20 years of licensing experience into 6 sessions where people will learn how licensing works. It's really the foundations of licensing, the basics of licensing, really understanding what is licensing, what's the process, who's involved, what a proposal needs to look like. And it's really for those that very new to licensing, who have no idea how it works, and they are just really interested in learning the process and educating themselves about licensing. That is not live yet. We're in post-production of that, and that will be going live in the next month. And then we have the content side of the business, which is the vlog and the podcast. So the vlog is what you're watching now. We don't have a name for it just yet. That's something that still needs to be decided, but that's very much pulling back the curtain on our business, the different areas of our business, and my life as well. So you can see what it's like to run a licensing agency. The podcast is also about really raising awareness about licensing, having some really great guests on that are licensing experts, again with a goal to help those that don't really understand licensing to start to get their head around it. Now, season 2 will be launching in the next month or so. I've done 13 interviews so far. We're just in post-production of those. We have a few other really exciting interviews lined up for the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. Now, outside of the Born side of things, we have Daily Mentor. So I am a mentor for the Daily Mentor, which is a community for e-commerce companies. They have leading mentors that help them grow their business, and I handle the licensing side of things. So if anybody needs any help with licensing, they come to me. I have calls. I take them through the process. If anybody is interested in learning more about Daily Mentor, you can go to the website and learn more about that. I'm also on Intro. So for those that aren't familiar with Intro, it's a platform where you can go and you can speak to any expert that you like. So as far as I know, I think I'm the only licensing expert that's on there. It is relatively expensive because I do like to protect my time. So it is $1,000 per hour, but those that do book time with me, they do find it really valuable. At least that's a feedback that I'm getting. So that's another thing that I'm focused on. It's for those that really need more immediate help. So people come on with a lot of questions. They are paying a lot for my time. And so I'm very generous in helping them understand, essentially whatever they have questions to in the licensing space, I'll do whatever I can to help. So there you have it. Born licensing, born to license, learn to license. We have our content through the podcast and the vlog. And then separate to that, I have Daily Mentor and Intro. So we have a lot going on. That's what you're going to see when you're watching this series, is you're going to see behind the scenes, what happens, how do I run the business, learn more about my amazing team, and really start to understand licensing a lot more. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're trying to get our subscriber numbers up, which is really important for us. We want to make sure that we can show that people are really interested in licensing and what we're talking about. So please make sure, like and subscribe, share it with some friends, and I promise you, you won't regret it. Now, you might be wondering, David, what do you do on the weekend? Well, let me tell you, there is something I really want to show you. I love entertainment. I love to be entertained. I love movies. I love TV. I love film. So I'm going to show you something really awesome. Have a look. Now, this is my favorite room of the house. It has my favorite object in it, which I'm going to show you in just a moment. But this is the cinema room. This is where I really get to chill out, watch the latest film, catch up on TV series, and I love it. So let me show you how we make it really incredible. Let's close the curtains here. Okay, so that's all closed. Don't know if you can still see me, but I'm sure you can hear me. The next thing we want to do to make it really good is we want to also close the other curtains, because we're going to make this fully black out. So on the other side of the room is the entrance, and the light still gets in, and we want it to be like fully black out. So we close this one, There we go. Now, because it's daytime, we are still getting a little bit of light coming through from that side. At nighttime, it's fully black out. So now let me show you my favorite object that I mentioned before, which is the projector. Voila. Now, for example, let's go to Netflix. And of course, we want to be like really comfy. So I'm going to extend the couch out. And then I can sit here and I can choose what I'd like to watch.
Our latest cold case is from Media 11.
Now, the biggest challenge is always just figuring out what to watch. If anyone is like me, sit on Netflix for half an hour, not knowing what to watch. There's so much good stuff there. And then you realize you've taken too long and you don't have time anymore. But not today. Today is Sunday. I have plenty of time, so let's watch. I'm going to watch a new film with Vanessa Kirby in it. Night Always Comes. It's getting relatively good reviews, so I think it'll be worth watching. So here you go. I've just had a note come in from the team that are working on Learn to License to say that one of the sessions, or the next session, is ready, session 4, for me to review. So I'm going to change gears a little bit, get into work mode, and start reviewing this session 4 because I need to do it today while I have the headspace to actually do it and do some creative things and some creative thinking, because during the week I really don't have time. So I do like to take weekends to do more deeper work, anything sort of creative that I need to do as well. So that's what I'm going to be doing right now. It is very important. The day after marathon training, the day after running 26 kilometers, I need to rest and I need to eat. So the resting has been done. I've watched a film. You've seen me do that. Now I need to start thinking about food. There is a beautiful vegetarian restaurant that's nearby here. I'm not vegetarian. I love meat, but I love vegetarian food as well. This particular restaurant is awesome. It's really healthy, very delicious, very broad range of vegetarian products to choose from. And I'll be going there and I'll be eating up a storm because I'm starving, because I deserve it, and because my body is desperate for fuel. So today it's all about refueling and resting for 2 hours. So the time has come where we need to decide on the name of the vlog, and I'm going to put it in the hands of my team. We're having a 15-minute call right now as a group to go through the shortlist. Let's see where we end up. Hello.
Hello, team.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I think we're just waiting on Michelle and Juliana. How is everyone? All good?
I'm good.
Yeah? Nodding along. How's your first day back from leave, Jenna?
I'm tired.
You're tired? Today, this call is going to be all about deciding on what the vlog is going to be called. I do have a short list I'm going to take you through, and then we're going to vote. We've got a poll, and whichever one wins is what it's going to be called. Let's do it. Now, the first one I would like to hand over to Michelle to share about this inspiration for this particular one. So, Michelle,
I've never seen that logo before in my life, guys. I don't know. I think that came out of my Borniverse idea or something. I don't know where Bornhub. I genuinely don't think we should do this one. Can I just be honest about that?
I did see Jenna shaking her head. Jenna, what are your thoughts?
So many different reasons to not to do this. I did glance over the conversation and I thought it was a joke, so I'm surprised you
So I'm guessing this is a hard no, so we're probably not going to get any votes. Let's move on.
Absolutely not.
Born Life, Born TV, Born Cast, Born HQ, Born Wild, Born Vlog. I mean, that very much says what is on the tin. It is exactly what it is, the Born Vlog.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I like
Prince
that
of
one.
the Prince.
Born Free, Born Tube, Born Daily, Born World, Born Uncut.
Born Raw. No. The category on Bornhub.
Okay. So that's a
No.
hard no.
Who thought of that one? I like that one. That's my favorite.
Anyone in favor of Born Raw at all? Anyone? No? Okay. Born Ready. Born Unlocked.
Oh, I like this.
Born Unfiltered. Born Reality. Bornography.
No.
Oh gosh.
No.
No.
I kind of like that one.
Definitely not. No.
I just thought of another one based on that. Sorry. Right.
Go on, I'm open to new suggestions.
Born unzipped.
Born what? Born
Unzipped.
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 Okay.
Unzipping David.
Okay, I'm gonna put that in as an option.
Sorry.
Born Unzipped. Okay.
I've got
so Born-
two other suggestions. One that I really like. So I'm going to go with my first one that I really like. Born in Action.
Born in
Ooh, I like
Action.
that.
Ooh,
Because
I like
that's
that.
kind of what you're all about, right? Like it's all about what you do. Hustle, hustle. So I like Born in Action a lot. And the other one I wrote down was the Born Edit.
Oh,
Edit.
that's good too.
That one.
All right, I'm going to add that one as well. All right. Has everybody voted?
Oh.
Yeah.
We have. So we have a winner. So
Ah.
let's just go off. So Born Hub didn't get any votes, surprisingly. So we had one vote for Born Vlog. We had 2 votes for Borncast. And then the rest of them went to Born in Action, which is great, which was Alyssa's last. That was the last one that was submitted. So well done, Alyssa. Congratulations. Born in Action.
Good. I like it.
Soon you will see Born in Action in action.
Fun.
Yay. All right. Thank you guys. Back to you. Bye. Bye.
Ciao.
There we have it. Born in Action is what it's called. I actually didn't vote for that. I voted for Borncast, but my team knows best. All of them except for 3 people said Born in Action. So that's what we're going to do. So you're watching Born in Action.